yet more romantic offerings, Hannah, as we move across to the streaming platform You for a new series called At Home with Katherine Ryan. And here's a clip.
Full disclosure, this queen is just trying to hold it all together.
When did you get permission to have a cat?
Never really, but it's fine. So, can I entertain the nation and be the best wife?
We were able to get intimate in the bathroom.
I didn't know we were saying that.
And mom?
I'm the parent still, and if I say no, I say no.
Okay, well, we'll see about that. This is my life, and you may watch, and you're probably going to want to judge.
Yeah, Katherine Ryan is definitely back. I mean, she sort of started out, I think I remember seeing her on kind of Whose Line Is It Anyway, or something like that, you know, on that kind of comedic circuit. And she's really, I guess, become a household name of late. And I would say she's relatively Marmite in terms of a comedian. I think some people really struggle with her. And I try quite a lot because I think it's really brilliant that, you know, there's a successful female comedian. But this is kind of the other side of her, and this is her a reality show, essentially. For those of you who've tuned into this before will know that this very much tracks the family life and the dynamic behind closed doors, or not behind closed doors in this instance. So you've got her there with her husband. You've got their two children, Fred and Fenna. And then you've also got her daughter, Violet, from a previous relationship. And that sort of kicks up. There's lots of interesting kind of storylines in here that people might relate to. So, for example, Violet, she's 15. She's a bit of a force of nature. She doesn't want to, she's in GCSE years and, you know, she's not knuckling down. She wants to do other things like, doom scroll or, you know, do the things that teenagers want to do, essentially. She's no different to many others. And so you can see his difficult relationship with her. And he says, I've not known her for that long. I don't feel like I can step in and, you know, be really hard on her. I find that really difficult. And he says, you know, but I think that her mum, Katherine, is a bit kind of easy on her, to which she has a right go at him back. And that is sort of the premise of this. She's quite hard work, Katherine Ryan, in this as a cohabitant, I would suggest. You know, she's quite she's a force of nature herself. And this sees her kicking off this 10-month comedy tour where essentially he takes the reins of the family life while she goes and does stand-up comedy. And it's interesting because I always think with a lot of comedians, they work so hard to get their content, and I think she has done previously, but she sort of talks about, I'm worried about I haven't got new content, I'm worried about this, I'm worried about that, and she has this real mum guilt. So whether this is kind of female skewed, probably, this real working mum guilt where they feel that they can't do enough. The other thing, she breastfeeds all the time, so, you know, she's getting her boobs out all the time, frankly, all over the shop. She says there isn't anyone that hasn't seen them now. And she's very sort of earth mother, yet a career woman. And can those two really, really connect? She convinced him to go and see a therapist. Turns out they're both, you know, they're sleeping in bed with their children. So they're saying, you know, perhaps you need to see an intimacy counsellor as well. It's very... there's nothing sort of that they don't talk about. As I say, I think Katherine Ryan is relatively Marmite for people. I mean, I was late to our pod because I was slightly involved in it. I couldn't stop watching it. So that says something. So I find it really quite interesting. And you do get, I don't think she hams it up with the cameras either. But Ian, what do you think?
Interesting one, this. I did enjoy watching it, though. It kind of irritated me quite a lot, but almost in a good way, if you know what I mean. So UK TV have previously done Meet the Richardsons, which was about John Richardson and his comedian partner. And that was very much, well, kind of scripted, really, and played for laughs. Though, of course, they're not together anymore, are they? But it was about their home life, but it was a fictional version, deliberately. And, you know, you understood that this was, you know, there were people acting in it as well. Well, this is supposedly playing it a bit more straight about, you know, the many family life reality shows we've had about celebrities. However, Katherine Ryan does seem to be kind of crowbarring in potential comedic material. So she makes a big deal out of, oh, should I be a trad wife, and makes some jokes about that and dresses up in a sort of old-fashioned dress. And, it all seems a bit forced. But I did find it interesting. I mean, she's not my cup of tea comedically. And I think you get the impression she's quite a challenging personality, though you're not sure how much of that is a sort of persona that she's putting on. But certainly her partner, because I think they first met when they were quite young, and then they sort of reunited many years later after she'd already had a child with someone else. He seems quite a sort of even-tempered, mild-mannered fellow, and she drags him to couples counselling. And of course, it turns out, which is often what happens when one partner is desperately keen to take the other to counselling, it turns out that the person who was keen to go into the counselling is the one who's causing most of the problems. Because you see that, and again, I don't know if she's putting it on, but she just constantly speaks over him, says how rubbish he is at everything, and yet complains. She complains that he doesn't take the lead, but then she says, but I'm the best leader, so he'd be rubbish at it anyway. So, and it is kind of funny, I guess. I'm not sure. It'd be, well, anyway. The teenage stuff is good, because obviously that dynamic of a stepfather coming into the family, and then the younger kids actually being his kids. That's a really complex and challenging dynamic, I think, especially for the child who has a different father. So that was quite interesting. So I did find it a good watch, but I found Katherine Ryan quite annoying. But I kind of think that in a way that's kind of her shtick, is her comedic persona is this kind of like brassy, overconfident show-off. And some of that does leak in. So you're never really sure, are they just putting on an act to make this good to watch? How much truth is there in this about their relationship and their family life? Also, it does really worry me when people put their very young kids into a TV show, because obviously they have no way of consenting to that. I think that's a dangerous road to go down. But anyway, I did find it interesting.